Good evening. Mr. Rickerman? Here. Mr. McDowell? Here. Mr. Duval?
Here.
Mr. Badura? Mr. Vine? Here. Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mayor Benjamin?
Here.
Thank
I want to
you.
note for the record, Mr. Badura has been here for the entire work session. I think he had some personal issues he had to attend to, and we expect him to join us a little bit later. Last student body president, Drury High School, come lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. And introduce yourself to everyone, too.
Hello, my name is Shamar Butler, and I'm the student body president at Drury High School. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I had a great conversation with Jamar. He has big dreams. Richmond One's preparing our kids to go take on the world, so we're excited about it. Rev, would you please bless us with a word?
Let us bow our heads. Creator and merciful God, for the many blessings you bestowed upon us, for this opportunity to gather as a city, as a family, to discern what it is your will is calling each of us to participate in. Touch us individually and yet collectively, allowing us to feel the sensitivity of your will in our lives. We ask it in your name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. At this time, we would ask council to adopt the agenda with a few minor adjustments, Mr. Mayor, removing the following presentation, the Global Entrepreneurship Week and Women's Entrepreneurship Day proclamation, and adding the following presentation, the marketing update by Ms. Miriam Atria, the President and CEO of Capital City Lake Murray Country Regional Tourism Board.
All right, thank you.
Oh, and I'm sorry, one additional item on the consent agenda, we wanted to
Number 13.
remove, yes, sir, item 13, thank
If,
you, Councilman Duval, just removing that from the consent agenda, Mr. Mayor.
And Ms. Wilson, I have an additional presentation I'd like
Yes,
to make, maybe 17A.
Yes, ma'am.
And are we holding on a couple other items, or?
26 and 7.
They've already been, we're holding on 26 and 27, right? Referring to the next agenda.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, and also number 25.
That's the resolution?
That's the resolution.
Okay. All right.
25, 26, and 27.
All right. All 25, 26, and 27, sorry.
4th or the 18th, what meeting?
4.
December 4th.
Okay.
Fourth.
As long as the information
Yes.
is.
You get all information submitted. Now, I've been assured that you would have it maybe by midnight. But, so those are the amendments, all right? With those amendments, is there a motion to approve to adopt the agenda?
So move.
All right. Second. Any discussion? With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Aye. All right.
Thank you, Mayor. At this time, we would ask for any public input related to the agenda items as outlined.
That's all right. All right. Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir. Seeing no public input, we would ask council to approve the October 16, 2018 and November 6, 2018 City Council
Is there a
meeting
motion?
minutes.
Move approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Vine?
Aye.
Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Aye. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as amended?
So move.
Is this? All right. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All right. With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickerman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Vine? Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Aye.
And item 13, Mr. Mayor, is the ordinance number 2018-063, authorizing the city manager to execute a signed location lease between the City of Columbia and the Lamar Companies for lease of 207 Gervais Street at Canal Street in Richland
Mayor,
County.
can we hold that until Mr. Medora gets back?
I have his amendment.
Oh, you've got,
Yeah, so I have his amendment. But all the other issues have been resolved from the last meeting that we discussed, okay? In a bilateral conversation?
it was a bilateral conversation.
All right.
So number 13 is off.
I'm going to make a quick amendment. There's an issue Mr. Badura raised that he was concerned about, and we had the amendment drafted up. I'm going to make this as a motion to amend the contract as follows, and what you all seconded if you agree. But we know that we always had issues with fish migration, particularly short-nosed sturgeon there. Mr. Madura asked that we amend the agreement with Lamar, Section 2A, to state that if the termination notice is issued at a time that causes the removal period to fall within the fish migration season and the removal is determined. Do you want to read this, or you want me to read it?
It doesn't matter.
Go for it.
How far did you go?
I just started as you were walking in. Go for it.
180.
Yeah, it's 180. So the addition to the contract, pick off, if the termination notice is issued at a time that causes the removal period of fall within the fish migration season, and the removal is determined to have a possible impact on the migration pattern, the physical removal should be delayed until the end of fish migration season. However, the planning and any permitting requiring to facilitate the removal shall continue forward in order that actual removal can be implemented as soon as the fish migration season ends.
Second, Mr. Badura's motion. Any discussion? Mr. Duval.
Mayor and Council, it seems to me that if the billboard is in the fish migration path and that we need to put an amendment into the contract to take care of the fish migration of the sturgeon, that the billboard's in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Council doing
And so
develop-
we should move forward with requiring the billboard to be removed.
Is there any further discussion?
It's where the eggs actually, they nest right
the
there.
billboard will be coming
Come on, you
down.
should know better than that. We're the fishermen.
This man moved previous
Are
question.
these the sturgeon with feet that walk up to the billboard?
Mr. McDowell has moved the previous question. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
No.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. The short-nosed sturgeon actually have little feet?
I think they're the transition fish
Okay,
from
okay.
the amphibian to the walkers.
I need a aye. If I didn't vote, I
You
apologize.
have to love the fish, man.
All right. Just a very quick point of personal privilege. We had an opportunity just in September for one of our leaders here to be recognized in Washington, D.C. She was unable to attend because we were in the middle of another serious storm and doing a fantastic job as city manager, Teresa. Why is that up there? Oh, really? Okay. All right. Teresa Wilson was not able to go and receive her incredible award from Walker's Legacy, recognizing her achievement in economic development and her leadership in the areas of economic policy, business development, and entrepreneurship advocacy as our city manager. So we got the plaque anyway, Teresa, and just wanted to recognize you and thank you for your leadership and your service.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Ms. Devine?
So this is definitely a day to recognize our amazing leaders. So last week, November 14th, Mayor Stephen K. Benjamin was featured in Ebony magazines as one of the 2018 Power 100 lists for the most influential and inspiring African Americans. And so we just wanted to congratulate him and recognize him. This is no, well, yeah, he said Mr. Ebony, but this, I just wanted to highlight, this is an amazing, tremendous honor for him and our city, because he continues to elevate the profile of Columbia and highlight Columbia everywhere he goes. He speaks on international stages, and so a lot of times it's about Columbia, but we wanted to recognize him for this personal recognition and achievement. So congratulations, Mayor Benjamin.
Thank you. All right. It has been my life's honor to serve as mayor of this great city. We got great things to do together, so thank y'all, and please continue to keep me and our family in this great city in your prayers. We're going to keep on moving. We're going to keep on moving, Madam City Manager.
Yes, sir. We have the recognition also of the 2018 Association of Public Safety Communications Officials Award recipients, and I'm going to ask Ms. Jacqueline Richburg to come forward and do these recognitions. As she comes forward, I will name our National Emergency Number Association Telecommunicator of the Year, Ms. Kizzy Dunlap, and our National Emergency Number Association Palmetto Award winner, Ms. Regina Goodwin. And these folks, Mr. Mayor and Council, as you know, work under tremendous pressure when they are working to take calls in our 911 communications center. It's a job that probably goes unnoticed, but it is the call that people make and the answer that they get that can save lives. So I would like Jacqueline Richburg, our Director of 911, to make the presentations.
Thank you all. Good evening. I would like to first brag about two young ladies that's done an outstanding job. And so we too brought home the gold for the state of South Carolina, the APCO NINA Awards. So I would like to now present the first award to Ms. Kizzy Dunlap. She was the telecommunicator of the year at Myrtle Beach at the conference this year.
Yay.
And then the second award, it goes to Miss Regina Goodwin. She brought home the Palmetto Award for the state of South Carolina at the conference as well. Miss Regina Goodwin.
Obviously, all the roles that all of our 2,000 plus employees play is very important in quality of life here, but obviously when you call 911, we need to make sure we have good quality people answering the phone. We really need our public servants then, and it's good to have folks who are recognized by their peers as being incredibly good at their job. So thank you all for your service.
I just wanted to add to that. I think we're very fortunate, and I know most of you listen to the news on whatever device you use, and you hear about a lot of mishaps, mistakes, mistaken identities, and bad directions and that sort of thing. And so that tells you just how valuable these employees are to us. You know, we don't experience such things. It's only because they take their job seriously, and we see that they get the best professional training that's available. And so those awards are justly reserved, and I really appreciate that, and I know we congratulate y'all, most definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Davis. And we're so fortunate. This is a red letter day. We have Senator John Scott, who's going to make a presentation to us briefly, but we're fortunate today to have a significant number of our elected officials here today. So we have Representative Chris Hart. Representative, thank you for being here and the great work you're doing at the State House. We have City School Commissioner Beatrice King from Richland 1. I know that Commissioner Devine is also on the way here. We've been working closely with the school district and all of our friends here from the Dreer family on wrapping up Dreer, and so excited about getting that done tonight. And we got the money man. I saw David Adams here somewhere. We got the treasurer here. Did you bring a check from the county or something with you? But we got our county treasurer here as well. And I think I call all the elected officials here. But so fantastic to have all of our neighborhood leaders, our parents, our community leaders, everyone here working together on one accord tonight. Senator Scott, friend, the microphone is yours. A special presentation on the Harlem Heights project, and we got our fantastic leaders from Harlem, the community here with him. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and other members of council. With me is the President, Vice President, Arjun Kim Qualls from the Harlem Heights community, also Ms. Little, which is also the treasurer. Also with me is Representative Chris Hart, who on the other side of the aisle also helped to make sure this, the presentation we're going to do tonight is able to happen. I also want to thank Councilman Sam Davis since 2012. We've been able to bring quite a large sum of funds within Senate District 19 and also in the House District and also in the City Council. We're going to start at 2012. I think we bought some $7 million that came into the North Main Street streetscape. We also began to plan early 2012-13, working on what's called the Leader Street, but it's the Harlem Heights Fairwalk project. With that, we were able to bring approximately $525,000 in planning grant money that came to it and engineering work, and that work has now been completed. Somewhere between 2016 and 2017, we took a look at the Bethel Bishop project that belonged to Councilman McDowell. With that, we were able to bring to you $341,000. Now, in order to complete the Alita Street project, and we'll wait on the city with this matching dollars, in 2018, we want to present to you the first check on the Alita Street project in 2018 at a sum of $100,000. And before, The $100,000 did not even come close to where we needed to be, but I simply said the investment of $625,000. And so tonight we give you the last check, and I want the community leaders to pass that check on to you. The sum of $500,000. That should be enough money to be able to complete this project. This is a project I've watched for over 60-some odd years. This community continued to be flooded. And we hope now this community can begin to move forward. I want to thank law enforcement for the City of Columbia's work with us in terms of cleaning up the drugs and other issues that we've had in the community. I can't think enough, the president, the vice president, and the treasurer, and that community basically is a lot of senior citizens who work together and have kept this community together as we move forward in trying to do and begin to look at redevelopment of the Harlem Heights community. But looking adjacent to us, I want to say to Councilman Ed McDowell, we're still looking to try to help you with your project. We made an early commitment, although it's not in my district, to continue to try to make sure those families in Bethel Bishop or Collin Apartment, whichever name they decide to do it, Mr. Mayor, and because of your leadership, we're going to continue to work through that process to make sure those families receive the best quality of life they can. Thank you so much for allowing us to come before you.
I just want to, excuse me, thank Senator Scott and Representative Hart for their partnership, and they've been working with me in the neighborhood step by step, and in addition to working with city staff to make sure that we address the flooding problem in that particular neighborhood. It is very substantial, and it's really going to make a difference in that neighborhood, and we would not be at this point if it was not for their leadership. And so we really appreciate that. I know the neighborhood has already expressed their appreciation to you, so we thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Am I on? I want to thank Senator Scott, Representative Hart. These are incredible community leaders for all the work they do every single day. All of us, we've been watching these incredible wet weather events just continue to grow over time. The frequency and the severity in this particular community has been dealing with it for an even longer period of time than other parts of Columbia have. Many of you know that just after the incredible storm in 2015 and 16, we moved forward with our very first stormwater bond. We will be issuing our very first green bond, I think state's first certified green bond in December of this year. I think we were told we had a fairly highly rated debt issuance, but we're talking about a $2 million project that the other 1.4 million has been approved. So we're there together, but it shows what you do what you can do when you work together. So we still got to get through some easements. You know, whenever you're talking about making improvements, everybody's got to give a little to make sure we get some things done. So as of today, we have 13 easements completed, another 15 to go. We're going to get there. Let's make sure we get there together. But appreciate you, Doc. Appreciate you so much. All right. God bless you.
Mr. Mayor.
Right? Yeah, I'm sorry. Mr. McDowell, I apologize.
Senator Scott.
Yes.
Representative Hart. Let me just say a word of thanks to this gentleman. These gentlemen who have blessed that part of our city, and of course a part of my district, with a tremendous gift that sort of took away the hopelessness and given bright rays of hope. Thank you so much for what you've done, and of course, thank you for the gift. And of course, we look for another gift.
I know you do.
And we're going to let Senator Scott take his seat. But one thing he referenced earlier, again, that
Thank you, John.
Unless you're in constant conversations on these issues, you wouldn't know. Obviously, Harlem Heights sits squarely in the heart of Senator Scott's district. He advocates for North Columbia every single day. Some of the other efforts that he's worked on, one in particular in Mr. McDowell's district he referenced, is not in Senator Scott's district. So he continues to work on behalf of people all across the region. Just want to say thank you for that. All right? All right. Y'all be, all right. Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, and from the staff's perspective, we wanted to also say how appreciative we are. It does truly assist us with all of the different things we try to accomplish from an infrastructure perspective. And I really want to say thank you to Dana Higgins, our city engineer, for always trying to move the ball forward with Clint Shealy and others. So
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. The next presentation is the National Apprenticeship Week Proclamation, the Honorable Stephen K. Benjamin.
All right. Recognizing the fact that South Carolina is actually an international leader in the space of apprenticeships, whereas apprenticeships offer employers the opportunity to develop a skilled and productive workforce while growing their businesses, and whereas South Carolina is dedicated to providing education and training to ensure that our workforce is qualified for the high-demand jobs in the state, and whereas since its establishment in 2007, Apprenticeship Carolina, a program of the South Carolina Technical College System, has grown apprenticeships in the state at a phenomenal rate, broadening the scope to include non-traditional industry sectors such as healthcare, information technology, tourism, and advanced manufacturing, as well as the traditional trades like construction, electrical and plumbing, and military with the South Carolina National Guard. And whereas the expansion of programs such as the increasingly popular youth apprenticeship component has resulted in the growth and diversity of apprentices in our state, including higher numbers of female and minority apprentices. And whereas the City of Columbia is delighted to recognize the importance of apprenticeships in the city and across the state, now therefore I, Stephen K. Benjamin, Mayor of the City of Columbia, along with my fellow members of Columbia City Council, do hereby proclaim November 12th through 16th to be National Apprenticeship Week in Columbia, and urge our fellow citizens to recognize in its observance. Who's going to accept this on behalf of Apprenticeship Carolina?
All right. I'd like to introduce Robert Crenshaw. He's with the Technical College System.
Absolutely.
My name is Charles Vaughn. I'm the State Director for North and South Carolina for U.S. Department of Labor. And Cleveland Williams is my apprenticeship representative. And it's really been a great pleasure to participate in the city. We have about 100 city workers who are involved in apprenticeship, about 400 citywide, and then we just passed the 20,000 mark for the first time for active apprentices in South Carolina. And this is a great city, and we're glad you're participating with us. And Robert can talk to you a little bit about the program that we have with the city.
I've had some direct workings with the water systems divisions, that being the water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, and the water maintenance division. And I'm really proud to say that from the very beginning, it was an awesome collaboration with their focus on upskilling their employees and bringing them to top-notch performance. Full proficiency with apprenticeships has really been a catalyst and is a model for others to follow. So really want to say that what's been done is really improving the workforce and the quality of water in the city, and we're looking forward to expand.
Fantastic. Well, I will tell you, get around the country, indeed around the world, people talk about the importance of apprenticeships, particularly as we deal with this really tight economy and the workforce needs we have. And everyone asks me about the successes of your program here in South Carolina. It's a real model, and I wish you continued success. We certainly need you to be successful. So, present the seat.
Beard over there.
Mayor Benjamin, at this time, I know you are excited to recognize the Columbia Ways In Challenge winners.
Absolutely. We all want to live longer, healthier lives. And just wanted, many of you may remember, I issued a challenge in which we were trying to lose weight together, trying to understand the importance of eating better and staying active. So I wanted to take some time today to recognize the folks who followed us online, stayed engaged through social media, reported their weight loss, and have a chance to recognize some of them. I know everyone's not able to be here with us this evening, but if you are here and I call your name, I'd like you just to come up and grab your certificate of achievement in the Columbia Ways In Challenge. John Green, is John here? I didn't see John. All right, John Green is ranked in the top 10 of the Columbia Ways In Challenge. Wanda Cannon. All right. Glenn Sawyer. Helen Lee. Kim Griffin. Lucinda Statler. Where's Lucinda? And the top 3 finalists, we have Margaret Floyd, Scott Robinson, and Kelly Sims, who all were top 3 finalists. And our number 1 weight loss winner, how many pounds was it? 31 pounds loss, was Benji Barfield. Benji. £31. It can be done, y'all. It can be done. Thank y'all.
Mayor, you weren't in the top 10?
You know, I would tell you, the mayor's still down 20 pounds. I was down 30. All right, still down 20 pounds. So
We're still waiting for you to do the 5K shirtless. You said it on TV.
Where's the parliamentarian when you need them? You gonna rule her out of order or something, man?
Mr. Mayor, just a personal privilege right quick. Can we do that?
Yes, sir. Please. And we've actually got some time. We're going to have to make up. We have a couple items. Okay, one more presentation.
Let me do a recognition. I was just told I didn't see her, but I do want to recognize my mother. And my wife brought my mama here today to see what I do on Tuesday. And I didn't know she was there. She has been sick, and she's better. And this is my mama right there. I hear about that all night tonight. That's
Thank you for that recognition,
Thank you.
Reverend McDowell. And also want to make sure we thank Blue Cross Blue Shield for providing the book bags to our winners and finalists. We'll make sure everyone gets their gift from Blue Cross Blue Shield. We have another presentation.
Mayor, we would ask Ms. Miriam Atria, the President and CEO of Capital City Lake Murray Country Regional Tourism Board, to come forward for a marketing update.
Good evening,
Hey, Miriam.
Mayor Benjamin,
Hey,
members
Miriam.
of City Council, City Manager Wilson. Thank you. I know I've got to talk fast and quickly. We have left some of our marketing materials on your desk to kind of show you some success stories we've had. We've got so many now that I can't even get them all in print. We have just returned from the Country Music Awards. Lake Murray, this tourism region, was chosen as the go-to destination for the Country Music Awards this year. So we've just returned from the CMA Awards, and now we'll be heading out to the Grammy Awards for another announcement. And then we're going to be moving on to Duck Dynasty. We're working on a special promotion with them. And then, of course, we receive in the mail clothing to help promote one of our largest endeavors. The USA Bass Fishing Team just brought home the gold, and we are going to turn bass fishing into an Olympic sport. And so they head, along with, I believe right now we're at 14 foreign countries, to Canada in 2019 for that event. But in 2020, they will be coming to Lake Murray for that tournament event. Fishing has taken our organization and this region into so many outlets we never really thought possible. And now we've just had a television show filmed in Colombia and across our region and on our lake, which also highlights fishing, but also highlights some of our restaurants and eating establishments in the region. So we brought you a preview, but I printed out for you your own personal television schedule as to when the show will air. Anglers and Appetites will be airing all across the United States, and I have brought a short video clip number 1 to share with you.
From pole-bending largemouth.
There you go. There we go. That didn't take long.
No, it didn't.
To a boat full of striped bass. Went right at the head.
Anglers and Appetites returns to the jewel of South Carolina to wet our hook in Lake Murray. And the Appetite himself prepares a massive Epicurean arsenal from Italian to Creole.
Get a little Creole if you're feeling it.
To showcase
featuring
a few
bourbon and
mouth-watering
Columbia.
hangouts and fine dining hotspots from Lexington and Irmo to the capital city of Columbia. Get your hooks and knives ready as Anglers and Appetites returns to Lake Murray country for a 2-part journey, premiering this November on Fox Sports South and nationally on Discovery's Destination America and Amazon Prime.
Oh man, this is beautiful.
And the bigger news is CBS Sports just picked up this television show as well.
Awesome.
Today, we were just notified that we have received another award from our efforts in the economic impact of the 2017 Forest Wood Cup. We received from the Destination Sports Management Company the Champion of Economic Impact for 2018 in the mid-markets of Destination Sports. That was awarded to our organization today.
Awesome. Awesome.
And finally, talking about movies and television and stars, we'd like to unveil our new television ad, which this is the longer version, which is played through the internet. And every time we run an ad in a magazine, it is followed through with a digital ad on a website somewhere out there. So this is the video clip that helps to lure, no pun on words, visitors into Columbia and Lake Murray.
You make me come alive. You make me come alive. I just can't believe life's a tide in moments just like these. We can hardly breathe. So let's go down into another sea. Oh, you bring out the best in me. Hey! You make me come alive.
I've never felt so free.
Can't get you off my mind.
You're such a part of me.
It don't
There's this much to see.
You make me come alive. I never felt so free.
Now, how do
So
we
Mayor
get that
Benjamin,
set?
you're going worldwide now. Actually, international too, all across the United States and into the international market. Last year, we had 1 billion media impressions. We are more shocked than anyone from all of the television that we've received through USA Bass Fishing Team all across the world, from the Forest Wood Cup, from the Big Bass Tour. I can stand here and name you about 25 different outlets where we were on television. It is mind-boggling.
Absolutely.
We are still in shock as to our successes with the little bit of money that we're getting from in marketing. We're spending $800,000 roughly on marketing. That's small money to promote a 4-county region, but the results we're getting are unbelievable.
Well, we had some comments about you earlier, Miriam, all the great work that you do, and it's one of our regional partnerships we're very proud of. We don't recognize our borders, Richland County, Lexington County, City of Columbia.
Right.
We get great ROI from your team, and we appreciate you always keeping us posted on the successes, and they continue to be additive. So thank you.
We'll be back in the spring with the newest one, Staycation Week. And thanks to Janie Baker and Vicki Davis in the audience that helped make this happen.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So, Miriam, you gave us, but just so the audience knows, the episode looks like the first one ran this past Saturday.
Yes.
But this Saturday coming at 9:30 a.m. it will air on Fox Sports.
Yes, and we have those air times listed at lakemurraycountry.com as well.
Awesome.
Great.
Awesome.
Okay?
Thank you. Thank you, Miriam.
Thank you.
All right.
Mayor Benjamin, you're going to be in that show as well, the commercial.
You would bring that one clip on the day we do Ways In and everything else. That was a photo op. I did not eat the food. It was a great day at Soda City, though. Great day. Thank you, Miriam. All right. So we're going to have some items we have to wait until 7 to take out, right? Public hearing. So let's.
As we
can we
transition,
skip ahead?
Mr. Mayor, I wanted to also let everyone know, as we're speaking about attractions, our ice skating rink opens on Thanksgiving Day at 5:00 p.m. Holiday Ice out at Columbiana Center. I was on site yesterday. It's going to be amazing. So we hope everyone can go out and enjoy that.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
We have
So we're gonna
some resolutions, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah,
Would
we
you like
do.
to continue?
Number-
Yeah, so we have, just so you all know, everyone's waiting, we noticed our public hearing for 7 p.m., so we can't take up items before 7 p.m. in case a member of the public wants to come and be heard on it. So we got a few minutes, so we're going to take up a few other items very quickly.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Rockwell.
Resolution number R 2018-105, release and abandonment of a portion of the city's existing 10-foot water line easement along a portion of Richland County as outlined Lot 4 at the Lakes at Barony Place.
Is there a motion?
Move approval. Second.
Moving second, discussion. Move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Resolution number R 2018-106, ratifying and authorizing the city manager to execute a letter of intent between the City of Columbia and the State of South Carolina and the city manager's execution of a purchase and sale agreement, documents to consummate the purchase of 2221 Devine Street.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Moved by Mr. Badura, second Ms. Devine. Discussion? With the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
We'll move into ordinances first reading, Mr. Mayor. Item 28, ordinance number 2018-066, acknowledging the amended and restated master agreement governing the I-77 corridor regional industrial
Is there a
park.
motion?
So move. Second.
Just moving second, discussion. Move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, item 29 complements item 24, as you all have approved it. Ordinance number 2018-070, authorizing the city manager to execute a lease between the City of Columbia and the State of South Carolina Department of Administration, real property services for the lease of 2221 Devine Street. We
So
purchased the
there's a
property.
motion?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is there a
and
second?
leasing it back.
Second.
Moving second, discussion. Move the previous question, clerk call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Mr. Vine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Appointments. Item 30, council is asked to approve the appointment of one individual to the Midlands Authority for Convention, Sports, and Tourism.
I move the appointment of John Hardy to a final term.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Recognition in our policy. Let me just say this real quick. I'll recognize you in our policy. This is Mr. Hardy's last term, and appointment to this term would require a supermajority vote. Mr. Duval.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Rick Rowe.
Okay. Well, fantastic. Okay. Well, thank you. All right. With his motion on the floor for Mr. Hardy's appointment, and I do believe we'll have a number of opportunities. Rick is, I think, acknowledged a fantastic appointee, and I think we'll have an opportunity to appoint him out of this or some other boards, as he has served us well in the past. I move the nomination.
One other thing. I too agree. I think Rick would do an amazing job, and certainly would love to see him in this capacity or others. I do want to say that, this appointment although it goes outside of our policy, with some of our regional boards, it's important that we recognize that when leadership rotates, sometimes when a person is not reappointed, it does affect our ability to have a leadership position. And so although I would love to see people like Rick and others on the board, I do think that Mr. Hardy's service on the board and his leadership position, and the fact that if he were no longer on the board, it potentially put us in a situation where we wouldn't have leadership, I think warrants going outside of our policy.
All right. We'll move to previous. I'm sorry, Mr.
I've had a
McDowell.
conversation. I've had a conversation with Rick, and what he'd like to do. Of course, he would love to serve in that position, but is open to other opportunities of service, and would love to, and would be pleasured to participate in something else. We got something planned for him, I think.
All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Move the nomination of John Hardy. Second. Move the previous question about that. I apologize.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Ms. Devine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis.
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to approve the meeting schedule at
Sure.
this time for
Is there
2019?
a motion? Is there a motion?
So move.
Second. Is there a second. Any discussion? We'll move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman.
Aye.
Mr. McDowell.
Yes.
Mr. Duval.
Aye.
Mr. Badura.
Aye.
Ms. Devine.
Aye.
Mr. Davis. Mayor Benjamin.
Aye. All right. So we still got a couple minutes. Are there any items for committee referral or reports from committees? I will say this. I just happened to see the notes from Lauren on the Columbia Ways In Challenge. Mr. Barfield lost 32 pounds. The second place winner, Ms. Floyd, 31 pounds. And the tie for third were Mr. Robinson and Ms. Sims. Both lost 30 pounds each. So some folks are getting skinny in Columbia. Getting skinny. All good stuff. Madam Chair Harris, thank you for being here this evening. Mr. Superintendent, Mr. Devine, Commissioner Devine, thank you all for being here. Krista. Are we still? How are we looking? How are we with 7?
Yes, sir. Just reading for the record, Mr. Mayor, the major amendment to a PUD 3319 Millwood Drive.
All right, please.
Good evening. Yes, this is your only item, remarkably, for your zoning public hearing this month. It is a major amendment to a PUD at 3319 Millwood Drive. This will allow for changes to the playing fields, to relocate the tennis courts, as well as a number of other details that have been written into the amendment. I'll be brief here because I know there's a lot of other people who want to speak, but I'll be available for any questions you may have.
All right.
Public first.
Please.
The public's first.
Yeah. Any public input? We've had a whole lot of dialogue, y'all. And I think it's about time we get this done. Do y'all agree? All right. So I know we got a little more, a few more amendments, but nothing that's substantive enough to affect the delivery of a high quality field that also meets the needs of the neighborhood and enjoying peaceable enjoyment of their homes. This last weekend, Mr. Rickman and Mr. Badura spent some quality time working through some other issues, and we're at the point right now where we're going to have to, of course, have to do 2 readings. We'll get a second reading in December, and we'll all get through this together and continue to make sure that the young people who attend Dreer, which I believe is one of the finest high schools in this entire country, have a chance to have a complete education, not just the academic, but also all the extracurricular and co-curricular needs that they have. So how do we have to formally do this on these amendments? Just want to read them into the record, or go ahead?
Let's clarify that they're not amendments. They're clarifications on the existing application. So I think with the proper step would be I'm going to make the motion to approve the amendment to the PUD with the clarifications on these documents that I'm going to give to Ms. Hampton, and then between now and second reading, which is December 4th, we're going to get these things clarified and incorporated in there so that it'll be complete. They include things like the map that is submitted is not correct, adding the landscape additions that have been asked for, which is tree and buffer that the landscape architect needs to meet with us on site so we can get those things clarified. It's clarifying things like, I'll pick one, the arboretum fence, elevation, and the real piece in this that is the document that allows the notice to go to the neighbors and the adjoining property owners for the future to call for a meeting 30 days in advance of any type of application so there can be true discussion. I think it's very clarified, along with having a liaison with the district. It seems like a lot of little points, it's just a lot of clarification, but very important so that we move forward having everything completed and we all can move on to another day. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I make the motion to move forward for first reading of the major pudge.
I apologize to interrupt, but I would suggest you might want to have the public hearing first.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Anyone want to speak?
Oh, I thought he had asked if anybody
no,
wanted to speak.
I didn't.
We're going to get through quick.
I think, anyone want to speak in favor of or against? Are we ready to rock and roll? Yes, sir. Mr. McDonald. Yes, sir.
Before we open it up, Daniel, let me just ask this. The original document remains the same with the clarifying issues that you're going to give tonight.
It's actually three parts, to be true. There was the original PUD. We amended that PUD, and that amendment, which was incorporated from the mediation that we did, which then gave us the post. This is the detail. This is like the final pieces. There's just some things that fell through the crack that need to be clarified. And I've spoken with the chairwoman, the vice chair, and folks at the district. We're all on the same page. So this is just to give us time, because the one thing we didn't want to do is make these clarifications in haste, and rather do it in between first and second so that it's clarified. We can make sure the map and everything so that everybody has the same document.
And let's make sure that that those clarifications are broadly shared. So whoever wants them or needs them, I'll share them with some of our friends here tonight. Let's make sure we have them, and we'll work through that between first and second reading. Okay, just make sure.
Yeah, and we would want to make sure that that is aired in the public, but just to hear from them.
Absolutely.
And two clarifications on that. One is that I guess Mr. Quackenbush will get with you and Mr. Grimbaugh.
Grab the microphone, Daniel. Grab the microphone.
Is it not working?
No, you just.
Then the second is that I think it'd be great if Dr. Witherspoon, if we could have Mr. Webb work with Ms. Hampton to make sure that the language is what we all had agreed to, if that's acceptable.
There's a motion for approval, seeing no public input. Is there a second?
Public input first.
No, I think everyone's declined to say something. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
I think everybody started talking. They could all talk. Second by Mr. Badura. All right, move the previous question. Clerk, call the roll.
Mr. Rickman?
Aye.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine? Mr. Davis?
Aye.
Mayor Benjamin?
Aye. Unanimous vote, y'all. Let's get this done. All right, we got to give. We have to. So our commitment is to make sure that we give the students at Dreer and the fantastic neighborhoods that surround Dreer a fantastic Christmas gift. We're going to get this done in December, y'all, when we're going to be off to the races. So thank y'all. Go do some homework, y'all. All right. Thank y'all. You keep doing great things, okay? All right. All right. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent. Thank you, Madam Chair.
There, but I'll walk right here. Okay.
Hey, Toby. How are you? Good. Good to see you.
How are you? Looking good, man.
Appreciate it.
Definitely.
We like it.
All right, good. Good luck to you.
You are.
You know what?
Good. Watch yourself. Watch yourself.
Good work, man.
Hey, sir.
Good work. Good work.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Thanks. Good job. Hey, Sam. Hey, Skip. Where's Mary? Okay, I see you. Still, I said, hey.
I did not know Howard even knew how to do the slide.
Oh, yeah. I can do the Charleston hustle and all those.
They're too cool.
Hey, Sam.
Yes, sir.
Before we take comments from the public, can I make
Yes, sir.
an introduction?
Mr. Badura.
We have a very special two guests, extremely special guests today in the audience. My two special boys, Zeke and Eli. Eli.
Stand up. Mo, they told me they're 18 and 16 years old, they told me. How old are they now?
They're getting there. Getting there. They're big fishermen. So that's right. We're working on your brother, aren't we?
Awesome. Good to see you, boys. So good to see you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Absolutely. So we have two citizens who signed up to speak, Mr. Alan Browning and Mr. Reg Solis. Oh, here you go.
Hello, how y'all doing?
Hey.
Again, I know y'all say here he goes again, but I'm not going to come to complain at all. Again, I'm Alan Browning from Hearts for the Homeless and Homeless
Reverend
Veterans.
Browning. I'm sorry. Reverend Browning. Minister Browning.
Yes, sir. From Living Waters International Church, and again, I'm going to reiterate this just to be short. Me and my wife several months ago started a charitable organization, Hearts for the Homeless, Homeless Veterans. I was homeless at one point. 8 years I made a rise from that position. I just want to reiterate that. I came at you at 2 city council meetings expressing the situation of the homeless in the park, in Fairley Park. Last night we was featured on WIS News. We fed over 150 people, somewhere in the range of 150, 200 people, Thanksgiving dinner there last night. We had S.K. Brown and Construction to come out of Orangeburg, South Carolina, which is a relative of mine, who wanted to make a donation. And we partnered up, and we had a beautiful Thanksgiving dinner with the homeless last night. Just wanted to say that. And you guys can go on WIS News website and catch the full interview. But anyway, I come back to present this to you guys, to the council, city council, and the mayor. I want to read this to you before I present it to you guys. I'm not a good public reader, so please bear with me. And I had a young lady to type this up because I'm not technical. I'm more of a combat military soldier, so I'm not technical, so it might be a couple typos. Y'all please forgive me for that. Okay, I'm going to try to read this, and y'all bear with me. To Columbia Mayor and City Council members from Living Water Church International and Hearts for the Homeless and Homeless Veterans Outreach Ministry, we have been informed of grants being released in December 2018 by the City Council. Here we are requesting our ministry to be a recipient of one or more of the grants that are being available to help fund our community outreach projects. We have for months been targeting the homeless in Fairley Park. We have been providing meals, clothing, spiritual encouragement downtown every Monday That's what we're permitted by the United Way in the city to do that every Monday. So we've been doing that. On Sundays, we have expanded ministry to where we use our church bus. We go down there on Sunday mornings. We pick them up. We take them for worship, for a worship service. We feed them. We use that time and opportunity to interact with them to find out the needs of the homeless. Me and my pastor and my wife, she's the CEO. And our objective is to use this grant program to assist those homeless people that have SSI, disabilities, or temporary labor incomes. There are actually people who go to work and sleep in that park in their cars at night. So I'm gonna be done. I heard the buzzer, so guys, give me a few more seconds. Again, our objective is to use this grant program to assist the homeless that have the SSI, disability, and temporary labor incomes to obtain stable residency by helping with deposits for apartments, boarding housing facilities, and SNG deposits to reduce the number of the wandering homeless in the downtown area. We strongly believe in doing this, we can eventually eradicate the situation by cutting down on the numbers of wandering homeless and helping them obtain stable residency. We have other effective ideas, for example, a day shelter where we would provide a shower, clothing, and recreation, haircuts, and have job fairs and employees come in, make them employable, and once we do that, we tap back. Once some of them are employed, we'll tap back into those grants, help them with the deposit and first month's rent, and let it be and push them on. We want this to, be a continuing a door to success. Okay. Okay, Lord God, we are going forward with requesting funding both on the state and federal level in the future, but we know that it must start with us, our local elected, along with our community, making changes needed in our community. Again, we humbly ask and formally request in this document to receive grants that are being dispersed in December. Together, we can change the face of this city. Because there's a lot of wandering homeless, and we want to take them to that next level, guys. Sure. And I'm asking you guys humbly. I'm new at this. This is my formal request. I have a copy for each one of the mayor and each
Madam Clerk,
city council. I don't know if I have to present our 501c3 now or our Mark Hammond now. I got copies of that for you guys also if necessary. Should I present them?
Yeah,
To the city manager.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't put a number, I neglected to put an address and number, but how, if we are granted by you guys, again, I humbly ask, would y'all contact us?
We still got a process. As I mentioned to you, notice of funds available. We're gonna be doing the process. So you're gonna be here at the next meeting anyway. You know you're gonna be here.
If I have to be, I'm learning as I go along.
Yeah. So there's a process. This is a start. So you're in the QE, but there's still a good bit to do. We'll talk. Like I'll tell you, thank you for responding as I requested, getting us a written request, and we'll talk some more about
how
ways.
Without disturbing meetings every week, how would I, what's the next process?
You're not disturbing the meeting.
So what's the next process? This is
all right.
Mr. Mayor.
Would you please, we'll get Minister Browning the process to make sure when the NOFA comes out that he has it's out. So
just go on the city's website and look up process for applying for grants.
Right, it'll be obvious to you. It'll say a notice of funds availability under the grant section on the website.
Okay, now I have to do this again on the website. But are y'all accepting this as my request formally?
No, she's telling you the process.
Okay.
She's telling you have to go to the website.
You basically have already done your homework, so you just need to submit it.
Go
by
through
website.
Yes.
I'm learning, guys, again. And y'all guys will read this. If I'm asking, please. Go over this if y'all can.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Solis.
Do you want to say it? I was just going to let Mr.
Good evening again.
Oh, I'm sorry. You got a question for Mr. Browning?
I just wanted to suggest to the Reverend that
Mr. Browning, Councilman Rickman.
I just wanted to suggest, I don't know if you've gone to the MOC, but the MOC is the Midlands group that oversees all the funding for a lot of the homeless services, and that's probably the proper place for you to put in an application.
The easiest.
And what else, sir?
And the easiest.
The MOC.
Yeah.
Since you've already submitted under the United Way to get the permission to feed, it would be the same folks. There's just a different group. Right. So if you ask the folks,
but again, City Council, I'm asking you guys to help because I noticed on y'all website that
That is the organization that get where all the federal funding and everything that flies through, which pays for a lot of the homeless services. And that's where you really need to go.
I understand that, but you guys do fund situations. I was told on the city council meeting that y'all give millions, and I might not know the correct figure, but y'all give money to organizations that's already established here. I assume that's what I was told.
We don't give money to churches, though.
Okay, I'm actually a charitable. I have a Mark Hammond. I have 501c3, and I have a Mark Hammond. I am a charitable organization, Hearts for the Homeless and Homeless Veterans. Yeah. That's who's asking.
Minister, again, let's meet as I suggested we did before. Let's meet. I'll make sure you have the information from Mark. I'll make sure you have the information to when does the NOFA due? When's the applications due? So pretty soon. So if not by tomorrow, then by Monday, to make sure you have that application if you want to go through that process. But I'll make sure you have all the information that you need. Okay. But it can't be at the council meeting every meeting. So call me in between, like I asked you to. Call me in between, and we'll spend some time going through the process that you need to be to apply if you go that route.
Right.
And also make sure you have the information about the coalition, the Mock Coalition. So, but we're not going to do it right here at the microphone.
But do you guys give grants to charitable organizations? That's what I'm asking.
To nonprofit organizations.
That's what I.
Yes, to nonprofit organizations, and the 501c3 is not something that Secretary of State Hammond can give you. You can establish a nonprofit corporation.
I have actually through nonprofit.
Okay, you can establish a nonprofit through the Secretary of State, but of course the 501c3 designation has to be given by the IRS. So we can talk about that, but
yes,
but not. It's not. This is not a helpful dialogue. Yeah, I know. We're gonna get it done. You got a heart. Your heart and your deeds are all in the right place. So we want to make sure.
And I would ask you guys would please go on the WIS website and look at what we do. Go on my Facebook. It's a ministry Facebook, Alan Browning, ALEN, and watch what we have done in the city. Just me and my wife alone, out of our own pockets.
Absolutely.
We just asking for assistance.
Mr. Brown,
thank you.
We want to hear what you're saying. You have a passion for what you want to do.
Yes.
No question about it. All of us sort of hear what you're saying. The other piece of that is the process piece.
Yes, sir.
And I wish we could, just on the whim of a moment, to say, here's some money, do what you need to do. Because there is a tremendous need for homelessness within the city of Columbia.
Right.
My point is, allow the process to work.
Yes, sir.
And I know you got a passion for it because you've been here the last 2 times.
Oh, the Lord.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you'd allow the process to work, I think Mr. Rickerman has given you an idea of where that funding or where some possible help could come. You've gotten all your 501(c)(3) and the application in the city manager's hands. Allow the process to work. Okay?
All right.
I think
Thank
that
you.
would help
Mr. Solis. Let's.
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you, Minister
Yes.
Browning.
Thank you so
And
much.
we'll make sure you have the information about Mock. Mr. Solis, you have the information? Y'all don't talk.
He was there last.
I know. So.
But he got, I guess
That's divine intervention.
Oh no, they were together the last 2 times too. So let's make sure we're talking to each other. Mr. Solis, please. Thank you. Young people, where y'all from? Students? Yeah, y'all.
USC.
Yeah, back row. USC? J school or what? Which school? Are y'all having fun yet or bored yet or what? It's been interesting? Kind of, sort of? You rather be somewhere eating turkey right now, I bet, right? It's coming soon. Mr. Solis, you have the final word.
Dear members of the City Council, as a reminder, I am Reggie, Director of Needful Things, Columbia, Lexington, South Carolina. I provide informational services to the homeless. I'm also a board member of the Homeless Helping Homeless, a steering committee member of the Meal Share Program at United Way, a member of the Midlands Area Consortium for the Homeless, as well as recently being asked to be on the review committee to help decide who gets funding for from the United Way next time. I want to thank personally the mayor for his time after the last city council meeting. It was my honor and to have an opportunity to talk in person to somebody I voted for and support. I appreciate the council's time, and I'm here again and will continue to return until we can find some solutions to what I see are some relatively easy problems to resolve. Last time I was here, I asked the mayor for the possibility of a proclamation joining in the nationwide recognition of National Homeless Persons Memorial Day. December 21st is traditionally celebrated in other cities as National Homeless Persons Memorial Day. Since the last time I was here, progress has been made with the help of Kathy Hood Pettinger from United Way, as well as my own church, with Father Tom at Church of the Apostles. And if I may just briefly summarize the letter I got from United Way, is that Father Tom at Church of the Apostles has agreed to do a memorial service on Monday, December 17th at 5 o'clock, just prior to the 5:30 meal, in recognition of all the homeless people that we know died on the street the last few years. Both Charleston and Spartanburg, as well as Atlanta and many, many other major and capital cities have celebrated this day, and I'm hoping that some progress is coming so that we can have a proclamation for that day. Also, previously, I asked for solutions to 3 items. The question of why the Inclement Center was not open was answered by our mayor. Due to the flood line rising, it is not considered a safe place to be. Has anyone been looking into an alternative site? The last few weeks, the rain has caused flood watches and warnings, thereby eliminating the use of the center. Where are our folks to go? How do we protect those who desperately need the shelter and protection? Previously, I brought 2 copies of the 2 news articles that were ruled in the 9th Circuit Court. The first one being about sleeping outside in public areas when there is no viable place for them to go, and they have certain regulations as far as the viable options. And I gave all of you copies of that information. I'm hoping that we're coming to some sort of decision on what we can do to comply with that 9th Circuit decision, as well as the having people's property seized, which is becoming a problem. As I stated before, when you go homeless, the things you carry the most are the things that you value the most. And when you lose those things, some people lose their mental stability because of that, because they've lost the last precious things from their life. Please let Columbia, South Carolina, be a leader in accepting these policies instead of one of the last, which is our reputation. I'd like to tell the world that the state in which I live is a leader in these topics and an example to others that we care about our fellow human beings. I have just one additional thing I have to say to the mayor. I have a challenge for you. The Salt Lake County Mayor, Ben McAdams, had kept a secret for 4 months after he went homeless for 3 days with no money or ID and walked to the Salt Lake City's most troubled neighborhood. Dressed in jeans, sneakers, and a hoodie, the county mayor spent 3 days and 2 nights walking and sleeping among the homeless and drug addicted in Salt Lake City's Rio Grande neighborhood. I brought a copy of the news article for you to read, as well as a copy of the email from United Way about the Homeless Memorial Day.
Sure.
I want to thank you for your time, for listening to me, and I'd like to request getting my picture taken with you after.
Oh, wow. Let's take a picture, my man. But a few quick answers or responses to things you raised. We'll definitely get the memorial resolution done. That's important, and we'll make sure it gets done at one of our 2 meetings next month.
And Mr.
Certainly.
Mayor, if Mr. Solis could just make sure that our staff knows when it is. If our schedules allow, some of us would love to attend.
I would love that.
We will, obviously, a discussion around the inclement weather center being challenged was, of course, when we have these wet weather events. Certainly, as the temperature dips, and it has, and it will continue to, we will continue to follow protocol, and the center will be open for folks as it gets colder. So we will make sure that it is open. You're so engaged in other organizations doing work around the community. I would also ask you to take a look at some of the work that the United Way is doing regarding Resilient Richland. You know, the challenge is some that you referenced, that so many people in our community are dealing with trauma, and that either leads to homelessness, but also is compounded by homelessness. And some of the work that they're doing, I think, in that space that we will be supporting is going to be groundbreaking, and I think it's going to help us deal with some of the larger challenges that we're dealing with. But that Resilient Richland program, I think, Howard, you sent something to us about that as well, is something exciting. Let's continue to engage with our law enforcement as we try to strike the balance on the issue of personal belongings. I can only imagine how some of the most intimate and important belongings some of our citizens carry with them every single day, and losing those can be devastating. Right. And we have to make sure we balance that with the same modern challenges we have of having items placed outside and being left unattended, and some of the 2018 public safety concerns and risks around that. So we might just have to keep discussing how best we can do that. But we appreciate you and Minister Browning. We appreciate your continued advocacy and look forward to continue the dialogue, not just on the specific issues that we reference, but how we can continue to work, make sure we meet the needs of our unsheltered citizens. There's a lot of work to do. I know Ben McAdams, know him well. We've spent some quality time together. I'm not sure if his citizens know him as well as ours know me. I'm not sure if I could pull that off, like I think Craig Melvin did about a decade or two ago.
Have you ever seen the show Undercover Boss?
I have. I can tell you some stories about Undercover Boss too. But we'll rap about that last challenge later. All right, let me get past my shirtless 5K challenge first. So if there are no other citizens who sign up to speak, let's have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Solis, let's get a picture. I might want to get a picture with that afro on the back too. I'm not convinced that's a real afro. Is that a real afro? Mr. Davis used to have the same afro. He really did. He really did. Had the same afro back in the day. You've seen the pictures, haven't you? So, young J School students, you all are the cream of the crop. You are competing at a very high level at a fantastic school. We want you to go on and keep doing great things, and hopefully, if not immediately after you graduate, at some point we'll be able to get you back here to Columbia and the Midlands to help make this place an even better place to live. Lauren, raise your hand. Lauren's a J School graduate and works with me, and some of you may know her. She looks like she's still in college, but she's doing some incredible work, prepared in the same programs that you guys are studying right now. A non-debatable motion to adjourn?
So move.
Is there a second? Move the previous question. Clerk, call roll.
Mr. Rickerman? Aye. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mr. Duval?
Aye.
Mr. Badura?
Aye.
Mr. Vine? Mr. Davis? Mayor Benjamin?
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.